That's a real super whooper.
So I watched this recent Presents, and it exists. Out of all the Pokemon Presents I've watched, this is definitely one of them. I watched the 34-minute Pokemon Presents, and honestly, I had a blank expression on my face for most of it. I wasn't sure that I could make a video. What was covered didn't elicit excitement or anything really from me. It was just kind of there. I can say for sure that my predictions on this Presents were a lot better than past ones. What I predicted essentially was updates on stuff we already knew about, and that's pretty much all we got. And yes, every Pokemon Presents we get the updates about stuff like Pokemon Unite and Pokemon Masters, etc. I'm not counting that. I'm talking about the main events itself were just updates as well. And I don't think any of the updates were really groundbreaking. There was very few things it's like, oh wow, this is big news. I think for the most part, these updates, if you just put them in a Twitter post from the official Pokemon account, it wouldn't be out of place. It's rare for a Pokemon Presents to have this little info. If you look at the 3 Pokemon Presents I've covered, Pokemon Day 2022 announced Gen 9, which is a huge deal, and the future 2022 Presents gave a lot of big new details about Gen 9. And the Pokemon Day 2023 announced new Gen 9 DLC and Pokemon Sleep. This just didn't have anything like that. And let's go back to the Pokemon Day 2023 stuff. That Presents honestly really sucked. At the time I gave it a C, and that was honestly way too generous. Like, yeah, Pokemon Sleep looks cool, but in the end it's just a sleep app. It's not anything groundbreaking. And the DLC, sure, it's cool, but everyone and their brother knew it was coming. It would have been a shocker if it wasn't announced. A lot of the details we got were, again, pretty vague, but there was a lot to be upset about. I think a lot of people expected some sort of Pokemon game, like a side game, and they didn't announce that. And the fact that they didn't announce anything new on Nintendo Switch Online for Game Boy emulators was shocking and very anger-inducing. But that's kind of my point. The 2022 Pokemon Presents gave me something interesting to talk about that I really wanted to share with you. And the most recent Pokemon Day 2023 gave me something that I was upset about and some disappointment that I wanted to talk about. This Presents didn't really give me either of those feelings. And I want to specify that because this isn't a video of me hating on Game Freak or saying, man, I can't stand the state of Pokemon that it's in right now. Because that's just not true. I already pre-ordered the Scarlet and Violet DLC, and if you watched my last video about the Nintendo Direct, you know that I'm very excited for Detective Pikachu Returns. But my overall point on that is, I was already excited for Detective Pikachu Returns. Nothing that was in this Presents really raised or lowered my excitement for it. I came into it excited, and I left the exact same level of excited. That's why I think a lot of this I would classify as forgettable, and I think that was the case for most of the things that were announced in this Pokemon Presents. There's a few exceptions, but overall, that's what I got from this Presents. This is the problem that comes when everyone has their own E3-like showcases. And yes, E3 had their problems. Not many people shed a tear when they finally shut down. But there's just such a big shift now. E3 was, hey, here's a weekend where we're gonna give you all the major news of all of video games. Now every franchise and every company seems to have their own showcase. To have the Pokemon franchise itself have a twice-a-year showcase. Look, I love Pokemon, but there really just isn't enough interesting Pokemon news to warrant that kind of coverage. And really with this format, we're just going to get a show every now and then that's not very exciting. That's kind of my thought on it, a very neutral take, I guess. But it's not like there wasn't anything good in this Pokemon Presents. Some things did pique my interest, so I can run over those real quick and tell you what I'm excited about. Starting with something that I don't usually care about, the World Championships section. The updates they gave looked pretty cool and made me kind of wish I could go. I can't believe this is the first World Championship that's in Japan, especially considering they've been doing this since 2004. They got some neat stuff, the art that they have around the city, the Pikachu parade, I always wanted to show up to one of those. And they have a Pokemon cruise ship, which is pretty cool, but they didn't call it the SS Anne? I mean, come on, you guys put it on a T and still swung and missed. Pokemon Unite, I still do like to play that game a lot. They introduced a new game mode called Panic Parade where you're supposed to protect Tinkaton. Seems like it'd be pretty fun to try out. They announced Pokemon Stadium 2 for the Nintendo Switch Online. I would like to see a lot more, but hey, something's better than nothing. With Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Mew and Mewtwo are coming to the game. Mew you can get for free using the code GETYOURMEW, and Mewtwo is coming in a raid in September. If you use your Mew versus Mewtwo in the raid, something big reportedly is going to happen. This might be the final big terror raid we get for a while. Just thinking that because, look, after this, the DLC is going to come out. We're going to get a solid 6 months of that, maybe more, and then it might just be on to the next big thing for the Pokemon. The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero kind of quote-unquote headlined the second straight Pokemon Presents. For the teal mask, we finally got an official release date coming out September 13th. Other than that, the only thing notable is that Ogerpon Terrestrial form kind of looks like it's just a giant mask, which is honestly pretty badass. For the Indigo Disc, we got this weird looking Raikou giraffe form. Apparently it's a new Paradox form. And hey, if we've gotten Suicune Paradox form and now Raikou Paradox form, it seems pretty likely that we're going to get an Entei Paradox form pretty soon. We finally got to see what Terapagos looks like. It was interesting because they don't look like what the box art has of them, which makes me wonder, is this a Pokemon that can evolve? Or is this like Ogerpon we saw terrestrial form looks very different than the real Pokemon? I'm not sure. Could be either one. They introduced the League Club, which looks like it might be interesting. It's hard to say. You can decorate the club with a lot of different things and invite gym leaders to be guest teachers. That could be a lot of interesting content, or it could just add very little to the experience. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. The coolest thing to me, and this might sound silly, but the fact that you can change your Pokemon throwing technique. As a kid watching the anime, I always remember looking at Ash and thinking, oh man, I want to recreate how he throws his Pokeball. I want to put the spin on it. That looks so cool. And as these Pokemon games have progressed, you see kind of the personality in a lot of these trainers from how they throw out their Pokemon. So it kind of stinks that this is pay-locked. So it kind of stinks that this is locked behind a for fuck's sake. So it kind of stinks that this is locked behind a paywall, but it's something that I am genuinely really excited about and I'm looking forward to messing around with it. So that's all I got on the Pokemon Presents. Let me know if there's something that you're interested in, and let me know if you kind of disagree with what I said at the beginning of the video. I'm always interested in hearing your feedback. If you haven't, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Feel free to join my Discord if you want to chat with the community and get updates on when I release a new video or go live. I hope to see you next time, and until then, I'll talk to you all later.